The average person who menstruates has their period for around 2,535 days of their life. That is around 7 years, and that's according to the UN. It's a lot of pads, a lot of tampons, not to mention the pain and discomfort that comes from having your periods too. But not everyone has equal access to sanitary products, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to ask whether reusable products could help solve period poverty. I'm Hannah Gelbart, and this is What in the World from the BBC World Service. Well, here to break it all down for us is BBC journalist Gloria Achieng in Nairobi. Hello, welcome to the programme.
Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. So we know a bit about period poverty, right? It's where people can't afford to buy period products or don't have access to it. It's a global issue. It affects women and girls in the global south, but also here in the UK and in the US. And according to the World Bank, there are 500 million women and girls in the world who don't have access to menstrual products. So, Gloria, why is this? Isn't it a basic need?
Based on things to do with the high cost of period products and access to things like water and sanitation facilities, you find that a lot of women are really struggling, especially in Africa. I've covered a couple of stories where we ask women, like, what are some of the issues that lead them to having period poverty? And the biggest issue that they talk about is the high cost of period products and also access. You find that most of these period products are really, they're very easy to find in urban areas, but when you go to the rural areas, it's very difficult for them to find these products, and they resort to using, products like the old clothes, the cotton wool. Some of them use rags, and even some I've had use things like leaves. So the high cost of period products is something that I would attribute to the high cases of period poverty and, of course, lack of water and sanitation facilities.
And I was reading some BBC research from 2023 that found that Ghana had the most expensive sanitary products relative to monthly income, and women on the minimum wage there were spending $1 in every $7 they earned on sanitary pads.
Yeah.
So apart from the fact that there's clearly a health issue here if women don't have access to sanitary products, what are some of the other consequences of period poverty?
When girls are having periods, they don't go to school because they don't have the products. It also affects women, working class women. So you find that for women who do not have these products, they are not able to go to work when they're having their period, because now there's the stigma, there's, you need clean toilets. Maybe you don't have a clean toilet where you work or in school. So I think those are some of the consequences, apart from health, that women go through when it comes to lack of period products.
Can you talk me through some of the reusable period products that you can get now?
Some of the reusable period products that you can get now is the reusable pad. We also have the reusable panty.
We were motivated to go beyond creating awareness about proper menstrual health and hygiene practices, and we got into the initiative of producing reusable sanitary pads. Over the past 5 years, we've been able to increase the chance of over 4,000 girls to remain in school, to have dignified periods, but also have their daily routines uninterrupted by periods. We do understand and appreciate that there are quite a variety of menstrual products in our community. However, we find that those products are not sustainable, or rather not easily affordable by the young girls. So the young girls here having access to sustainable yet comfortable and good quality menstrual products, it puts their education, their health, their well-being at a better advantage.
And we also have something that has become really popular in the continent, which is the menstrual cup, which you can use even up to 10 years. So you find that most women who have gotten access to menstrual cups, they have really appreciated, because this is reusable. It's, it's biodegradable. It's, again, made of silicone. You can boil it at home. It's easy to use for those who know how to use, although there are still myths, but it's becoming quite popular in the continent.
Now you're going to hear from the Cova Project, an Australian charity that donates menstrual cups to women and girls across the continent.
To date, we have provided 38,000 cups. That's since our inception in 2019. The bulk of those cups have gone to Uganda in East Africa, but we have projects in Liberia and Ghana in West Africa, and we also have projects in Malawi. When we started off, we obviously had a much tougher job at talking to girls about menstrual cups because they'd never seen a menstrual cup, let alone an insertable period product. Now, being 6 years into the journey, we have so much success through word of mouth. So if somebody uses the cup and they find it to be an amazing device for them, they're way more likely to tell their sisters and cousins and friends. So they've been really well received. We run at roughly an 80% cup uptake rate after 4 months. Clean water is such an important issue for us, and we select our communities very specifically, looking for communities that have access to clean water. Oftentimes that means working with schools where a WASH officer has come in and helped us identify schools that are going to have the appropriate facilities for girls to have access to the right kind of, cleaning practices to make sure that they can change their cup and clean their cup safely. But the wonderful thing about cups is that they don't require nearly as much water as many of the other alternative products that are reusable. So when you're washing a cup, you're merely putting it in a sterilization bag with a small amount of boiling water and giving it time to sterilize. Whereas if you're trying to wash period undies or reusable pads, that's going to require quite a bit of water in order to wash that. The number one thing with menstrual cups is that they are an insertable device. So you do have to be pretty comfortable with your body, and you are going to have to touch your body to insert it. So making sure that we have really clean hands when we're doing that procedure is the number one thing that's going to help reduce that infection stat.
All of these products, you use them, you wash them, you dry them, you use them again.
Yep.
You mentioned that the menstrual cup in
Yep.
particular is popular across the continent. How popular are the other products?
We have women who have either gone through training or are helping girls in the rural communities to access period products, teaching these girls how to make the reusable pad.
You mentioned now that people are making them. There are groups and organisations that are helping people have access to them. But are these reusable products expensive? Are there charities that give them away?
For the reusable pad, we have some that go for around $5 going upwards. And if you look at the type of women who are using these products, you find that most of them are not able to, afford buying like multiple reusable products. So you find that most charities who come to help women are the ones who bring these products to the continent. And we even have like some charities that are from the continent that are making these products for women. So I would say for the ones that women they get them from charities, but then these charities are coming with this concept of them learning how to make the products using materials that are available locally.
Some women may choose not to use reusable products because they're messy. You will need access to clean water to be able to wash them. And that could be particularly difficult in some countries, right?
Most people would say for the reusable pad, you need to wash it, you need water, you need soap. And you find that maybe people don't have water, so they choose not to use it because it needs water, it needs soap, it needs sunshine. Because if you don't dry the reusable pad properly, then you're at risks of getting infections because of it being damp.
Is there a lot of stigma around these reusable products?
I haven't come across people talking about stigma when it comes to the reusable pads. However, there is stigma when it comes to the menstrual cup. So people, these myths, like, I don't know where this came from, but when period products started coming into the continent, a lot of people were telling each other that when you wear a menstrual cup, you're going to break your virginity. And for the young girls, they feared using it because they felt they're going to break their virginity, especially for communities where virginity is a very, it's a serious part of growing up and adulthood. A lot of them feared using it. But we have, of course, people who are training girls more about the menstrual cups and just telling them that you're not breaking your virginity.
it's still a bit of a taboo to talk about periods, and there are lots of myths about them and about the products themselves. So here to break some of those down is BBC Health reporter Michelle Roberts.
There are some myths about tampons and menstrual cups. Here's what to know. Tampons need to be inserted into the vagina, which can take a bit of practice. There are different sizes depending on your flow or amount of bleeding. When managing your periods, there's a tiny risk of something called toxic shock syndrome that's been linked with tampons but also menstrual cups. It's very rare, but can be serious and is caused by certain bacteria that release toxins into the bloodstream. Some of the signs and symptoms are like severe flu, a high temperature and aches. If in doubt, or you feel very unwell, seek medical advice. Always use the lowest absorbency tampon that will manage your flow. Menstrual cups are a reusable alternative. They can be removed, emptied, washed and reinserted every 4 to 8 hours depending on your flow. Infections can happen if you transfer bacteria from your hands to the cup and into the vagina, so wash your hands. Some people think they're unhygienic, but it's easy to wash them well and no one can tell that you're using one. And no, they can't get lost inside you. With cups, pads or tampons, change them as frequently as needed.
Gloria, what other ways are there to tackle period poverty?
I think with education and awareness, women can learn more about periods and it can definitely tackle period poverty. And I think also education on how to make these products and making the materials accessible to people could also tackle period poverty. Because if let's say these products and the sewing bit is added in a school curriculum and the girls learn from a young age how to make these products, then it becomes very easy for them to grow up knowing how to make these products and they can even change their societies. Boys should also be part of the conversation because, you know, boys have moms, boys have sisters, boys have aunties and other women in their lives. So if they also learn, then the world becomes a better place.
Historically, period products have been taxed by governments. For years, they were classed as luxury items, and there have been successful protest movements. I mean, here in the UK, there were huge protests in Ghana. What kind of movements are there for period equity to make period products more affordable on the continent?
For Kenya specifically, let me talk about Kenya. So I think 2 years ago, there's a senator who was stigmatized in parliament because she stained her trouser suit while she was in parliament. And she went online. Of course, this story went online. And there was a lot of women just calling for governments to make periods, you know, like period products, like free for women and also not to stigmatize women for having periods because periods are a natural phenomenon. So we saw a lot of people online just talking about this for that particular week. And of course, people referenced other things that have happened in other places in the continent where women have been stigmatized for having periods. And people were just asking, like, periods are natural. Why do people have to be stigmatized for having a period? Period products are expensive. Why do women have to, you know, buy period products, yet things like the condoms are being given for free? But we still see a lot of women online coming in to just say that periods are normal and we should normalize the fact that a woman can stain her dress or her clothes and they should not be stigmatized for that.
Do you think that the reusable products are a viable solution to tackle period poverty?
For people who do not have like a stable income or money that would help them get these products are actually, you know, a solution because you just need to know how to make it. And if you have the right products and then the raw products to make the pad, then you're covered.
Gloria, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Hannah. It's been a lovely, lovely session.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Hannah Gelbart. This is What in the World from the BBC World Service. Is period poverty an issue in your country? Let us know in the comments down below here on YouTube. We're also on WhatsApp and Instagram. And we'll see you next time. Bye.